In this Blender tutorial, I'm going to show you how to transform a ordinary cylinder mesh in Blender into a textured can with the proper bottom and top sides and my own customized label. Okay, so you can see if I go to wireframe mode, this is just an ordinary cylinder. Okay, and it's just been textured with an image. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So click on File, New, okay, to reset the scene, and then press X to delete away the default cube. Press Shift A and create a cylinder mesh. And then I want to scale this can upwards. Just make it a little bit taller so that it is in proportion to the can that we usually see. Okay, so I'm going to press Tab, go to edit mode, and then I'm going to press S followed by Z, so the scaling is locked in the Z axis. So I'm going to scale it up slightly so it roughly looks something like this. Okay, next I want to split the view into two. So you can move your cursor here, click on the hash lines here, left mouse click and drag so that you have two windows. Change one of the windows into a UV image editor. Okay, the next step we want to do is to UV unwrap this, or UV project this, so that we got a proper UV layout. So I'm going to change to the front view, and then I'm going to press press 1 on your number pad to change to the front view, then press 5 on the number pad to change to an orthographic view. Then press U, okay, and then choose the option cylinder projection. And you can see the cylindrical projection has unwrapped the sides, but the top and bottom is still not unwrapped. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want this this layout to fit within this UV space. So I'm going to use the UV tools here by clicking on this button, and then choose the option Pack Islands so that the entire UV layout is fit within this UV space. Okay, next I want to check for distortion. So I want to create something called a UV test grid. So click on UVs. Okay, I beg your pardon, click on Image and click on New Image, and choose the option UV test grid and click OK. So now you realize a UV test grid has appeared behind the UV layout. And if you turn on the shaded mode in the viewport here, click on this button, change it into a textured mode, you can actually see the texture being shown on the cylinder. And if you middle mouse click and drag, and you can see how the projection works. And it is very obvious that the projection is distorted because the squares we see here in the checkered pattern, okay, it is being crushed. So what we need to do is we need to scale this down so that it looks more like a square. So we can just move the cursor here and press S to activate scale, then followed by Y so that we are scaling only within the Y axis. So as you can see, when I scale it down, you can see the square start to get back to its original proportion. So this is roughly correct, okay. And then I want to just scale this so that the sides will fit within this UV space. So I'm going to just press S and I'm going to scale it up. Then I press G to move it right about the center here. Then I'm going to press S again, and holding down the shift, just scale it down slightly so it falls within the UV space. Okay, so the sides are now fixed, alright, but what about the top and bottom? So we have to use another projection method, UV projection method, to fix the top and bottom. So I'm going to right mouse click and select the top vertex, and then press Ctrl number pad plus so that the top cylindrical area here, the circular faces here, are selected. Then I'm going to press 7 to switch to the top view. Make sure this is a top orthographic view. Then you press U and choose the option Project from View. Left mouse click on it, and then you can see the circular portion is properly laid out now. Okay, now I'm going to change over to the bottom view. So you press Ctrl 7, move your cursor over here, then press Ctrl number pad 7 to switch to the bottom view. Right mouse click on the center vertex, and then press this combination, Ctrl number pad plus, to increase the selection. and then press U again, and then project from view. Okay, so now our top and our bottom circular faces here are projected properly. So you can press A a couple of times to deselect and then select. Okay, so you can see the two faces are properly laid out. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to lay out so that it maximizes the use of all the UV texture space. And it's not a good idea to have the UV shells. Okay, these sections are called shells to overlap one another. So we can use the tools here, the UV tools, to help us pack the islands. Okay, by clicking on pack islands. Before we pack the islands, we use the option average island scale first. Okay, then we go to UVs and choose pack islands. Okay, so now you can see the two circular portions are being laid out here, and the sides are fit perfectly at the bottom here. And everything you can see here is proportional. The squares are not distorted on the sides or on the top and bottom. Okay, so now I want to find out which is the top section here. So I'm going to right mouse click and select one of the shells here. Okay, you can use any of these buttons. You can click on this button here to go into shell selection mode or the island selection mode. Okay, I keep using the word shell because that's the term used in Maya. Okay, so in Blender they call these islands. Alright, so I'm going to select this island. Now I'm in island selection mode. Right mouse click, and then I'm just going to temporarily move it around. So I'm going to press G and just slide it around. So as I slide my mouse around, you can see the texture pattern changes. Okay, so that means that this island, okay, which I'm selecting, is the top part of the cylinder. So I'm going to right mouse click and let it come down. So you have to remember this because later we're going to bring a texture here to represent the top. Okay, so I'm happy with the layout. The next step I want to do is I want to export this layout to an image editor. So click on the UV tools again here, and then choose the option export UV layout and click on it, and then export it to a section that you're going to work on. Okay, and I'm going to call this can UV layout, and then I'm going to click on the bottom here, export UV layout. Okay, once it is exported, you can use an image editor like Photoshop or GIMP in this case. Okay, GIMP is the free image editor. Okay, this is a previous UV layout that I've done, so I'm gonna close this, and I'm going to open the layout which I've exported. Okay, so this is the can UV layout which I've exported just now, and so this is what it looks like. Okay, the checker pattern you see is not from the checker pattern that we have in Blender, but it just simply means that this is transparent. This area is transparent. Okay, the next thing you want to do is you want to bring in an image label to put within this space here. You can actually create your own by just painting, okay, using different colors to paint your own label or design your own label, or you can even paint your tops. But I'm going to just decorate this with a label which I've downloaded from the internet. So I'm going to click on File and Open. Now of course you can do this on Photoshop, but I'm just showing this on GIMP because you can download GIMP freely. Okay, so now I'm just going to open up a label which I have prepared beforehand. So I've customized this label, okay, and I changed the unique flavor of mine. Okay, so I'm going to click on the Edit menu here and choose the option Copy. So I copy the entire image, then I can close this. Then I'm going to click on Edit and paste it as a new layer. And the next thing I want to do is I want to scale this down. So click on the Scale button here in the toolbox menu in GIMP, and then just scale this down, and take note of the center portion here. There's a cross here. You can click on it and then drag the whole image and move it around. So while it is still in scale mode, you can scale it until it fits within the texture space. Okay, and then just click on the scale button here. So as you can see, I slightly overlap this, but I can change the scale later on. Okay, now you notice that this label is falling above the layout. So what I want is I want the label to be below the layout. So you can go to the layer sequence. Okay, you can click on the arrow here, select the top layer here, and click on the arrow to bring it below the layout. So you can see the layout lines, okay, cutting over the texture. So you can use this as a guide. So I need to scale this label down a little bit more. So I'm going to use my make sure you select the proper layer, then click on scale, and then just scale it down until it fits within the UV texture space. Okay, I'm going to use the ends of the circle layout here as a guide. So once it has fit, then you just click on scale. So now I've got the label nicely fit within the UV layout. Okay, next I want to create the ends of the can. So I've found on the internet this image, okay, right, and it nicely comes with both the top and the bottom of the can. So I'm going to use a circular selection tool, the ellipse select tool, and then I'm going to start from the corner, click and drag over the selection here. Okay, so you want to adjust the selection until it selects the entire circular portion here. Then you click on edit and copy, and then you go back to, I'm just going to push this aside so we can come back to this again, and go back to the layout image again and paste, go to edit and paste as new layer. So you got this top part here, and remember this layout here, this circular layout here, we know that this is the top part of the can. So this usually is the top part of a can, and then I want this to be laid out here. So I'm gonna first move this layer until it's right at about the center here. Then I'm gonna use a scale, and I'm gonna scale this layer until it fits. Okay, you can hold on to Control so that it remains proportional, and then I'm just gonna click on the center and then just move this until it is it fits within the circular layout. Then I'm going to hit scale. Okay, you can also use rotate to adjust this. I'm going to rotate this until it is straight and level, and then hit rotate. Okay, so the top part is fixed. Now let's work on the bottom. So I'm going to click on this window here to access this image again, and then I'm going to click on the ellipse selection tool here, and I'm going to select this portion. Okay, you can move the cursor to the side here to change, click and drag and change the shape. Okay, so I just want to adjust the selection until it tightly selects around this portion. Then I'm going to click on edit and copy. Okay, I can close this now, I don't need it anymore. And then I'm going to click on edit and paste. No, before I paste, I must choose paste as new layer. Okay, and then move this layer right at the corner here first, because we're going to rescale them. So click on the scale tool and then just grab and scale it until it fits the circular portion. I'm going to holding down the Control so it fits within the space here. Okay, once it is aligned, you can click on scale. Alright, so now I've positioned the textures within the texture space, or the UV layout of the cylinder. So now I'm going to export this entire image as a texture map. So before I do that, you have to hide the layout. So the layout is now in this top layer here. So I'm going to click on this eyeball symbol so to hide it. So this is what I want to export. So go to File, Save As, and change it into a extension that you can export. So I'm going to export it as a JPEG. So you can click on this menu here, click on the cross to open it up, and you can change it and export it to a JPEG image. Alright, and then make sure you're exporting to the folder which you can find, and then just click on Save and click on the export button here, and I'm just going to use the default values and then save. Okay, so now I've already exported this image. Okay, so we have to bring it in as a texture for the can. Alright, so let's go back to Blender, and then okay, we can have a preview to see what the texture looks like by simply clicking here, okay, in the UV image editor. So you can click on image, open image, and then navigate to the folder containing the image and click on can UV layout. I think it should be this UV layout JPEG. Okay, I didn't name this, I should rename this correctly. It should be a can layout texture. Okay, so I'm going to open this image. Okay, so you can see it fits perfectly, and in fact in the 3D view you can see everything fits nicely. But if I go to the camera by pressing 0, and if I press F12 and render it, you don't see the texture. That is because we have not linked this image as a texture map yet. Okay, so I'm going to press escape, and then I'm going to press tab to go to object mode. Okay, while the cylinder is being selected, go to the image editor here, or rather the material editor, and then just create a new material. Just click on new, and then next to it click on texture and click on create new texture. And the type of texture, make sure it is an image or movie. Scroll down, and then you can go and open up this texture. But since we already opened it within this UV image editor, you can actually access it here under the browse image to be linked. Just click on here and just choose this image, the can UV layout .jpg. Okay, and there's one more step. If you go to the bottom here, it says mapping. Change the mapping into UV. Okay, if you miss out this step, okay, the mapping is not going to appear correctly when you render it. Okay, only when you've done these steps, you can actually inspect the material and to check whether the texture has already appeared on the render sample here. Then we can try to render it. Okay, so right now in the camera view, so move your cursor here and press 0 to switch over to the camera view, then press F12 to render, and you can see that the texture is nicely rendered, but I can see some faceting here because I did not apply a smooth to this mesh. I'm going to press escape, right mouse click and select the can, and then I'm just going to click on smooth to smooth it out. And also the render is pretty dark because there's only one light in the scene. So I'm going to select this light and pull it back a little bit. Press Shift D to duplicate another one. Put it here. Okay, I'm going to press 7 to go to top view. Press G, then I can grab and move it. Press Shift D to duplicate another one and another light, and then put it here. Press 0 again to go back to camera view, and press F12 to render it. And you can see the textures looking pretty okay. Alright, in order to make the scene look a little bit better, let's create a floor for the can. So I'm going to press escape. I'm going to right mouse click and select this cylinder, and then move it up until the base is aligned with the grid. Okay, if you can't see where there's a line, you just press 1 to go to the front view. Alright, and then move the can until the bottom is aligned with the red line here. Okay, next I want to create a floor. So you make sure your cursor is at a center. Press Shift C to shift the cursor to the origin. Then press Shift A, select Mesh, Plane. Press Tab to go to Edit Mode. Then press S to scale it up. Okay, so it fills up the entire grid. Press Tab again to get out. Okay, I'm just going to give it a generic color. Click on a new go to the material here. Give it a new material, and then give it a sort of a light blue color. Alright, so I'm going to press 0 to go back to my camera view. Press F12 to render it, and now you can see the shadows appearing. Okay, if the textures for some reason appear a bit dark, okay, you can actually brighten it. Okay, so I'm going to press escape. Okay, I don't need this UV layout window anymore, so I'm going to left mouse click here and drag it to the right to maximize the screen. Okay, right mouse click and select the cylinder, and under the material editor here, if you go under the portion known as shading, there's an emit value here. You can just click on it and drag to the right, okay, so that the texture will appear a bit brighter. So now if you press F12, and then you can see your can is done and the textures look much better. Okay, so if I were to rotate the can, press R followed by X along the x-axis, you can see the bottom also has the texture properly applied. Okay, so that is essentially how you texture map a simple cylindrical shape. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the rotation by pressing Alt R. Okay, and I'm going to press 0 to go back to camera view. So I'm going to align the can, select the can, and then press R followed by Z to rotate it until it faces the camera. Then I'm going to hit render. Okay, before I do that, I'm going to readjust the camera again. Right mouse click on the edge here, press G to pan the camera around, and left mouse click to plant the camera position. Press F12 to render, and there you have it. Okay, delicious bone marrow soup by Willianos. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and maybe you can give it a try so you can understand how this UV projection thing works. Thanks for watching.